Hey, welcome to the English Podcast Lab. I'm Mike, and I'm excited to be talking with Sarah today.
Hi, Mike.
Sarah is our weekend guru.
Oh.
And today we're diving deep into this idea of how to make your weekends amazing.
Weekends are so important.
They really are.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's like that time to recharge.
Right. It's a chance to actually enjoy life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Outside the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about any old weekend here.
Right.
We're talking about making them awesome.
Yeah.
So good that you're excited when Monday's over.
Exactly.
So you feel refreshed
Uh-huh.
and you can tackle anything.
Yeah. And I think the first step to that is to figure out what an awesome weekend even means for you, because it's really easy to get caught up in what you see on social media or what other people are doing.
Yeah.
But really, one person's awesome weekend might totally drain someone else.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah.
And one of the articles mentioned how some people love to sleep and other people want to get up early and seize the day.
Yeah.
So it really is all about what you like.
Exactly. It's personal preference.
Yeah.
So before you even start planning,
Yeah.
you got to think about what brings you joy.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel relaxed? What makes you feel energized? What makes you feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
Is it spending time in nature?
Okay.
Is it catching up with friends?
Right.
Is it trying a new recipe?
Yeah.
Figure out what your weekend bliss looks like.
Okay, so that's step one. We've got our dream weekend in mind.
Uh-huh.
But now for the reality check.
Yeah.
What's not working with our current weekends?
Right.
Where are those pain points?
Yeah.
What's making us dread Monday morning?
Okay, so this is where we got to put on our detective hats.
Okay.
We got to figure out, what are those things that are getting in the way of your
Yes.
awesome weekend?
Yeah.
Are you spending all your time on chores?
Yeah.
Is your phone glued to your hand the whole time? Are you constantly running errands instead of relaxing?
Uh-huh.
Once we figure out those problems, then we can start finding solutions.
So it's like troubleshooting our weekends.
Exactly.
Why am I so tired at the end of it?
Yeah.
Instead of energized.
And sometimes even just recognizing those problems
Yeah.
can be a relief. You're like, it's not just me. There's a reason for this.
Okay, so we've defined our ideal weekend.
Okay.
We figured out what's wrong.
Uh-huh.
Now what?
Now we got to make a plan.
Okay.
That's the fun part.
All right. How do we do that?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes I think people make is thinking they can just wing it on the weekends.
Oh, yeah. Just relax.
Yeah, just see what happens.
Yeah.
But then that often leads to people feeling scattered and unfocused
And not relaxed.
and not relaxed.
I've been there.
Totally.
You just waste the whole weekend trying to figure out what to do.
Totally.
Yeah.
So planning is key.
Okay, but planning a weekend
I know it sounds
sounds kind of...
a little structured,
Yeah.
but trust me, it's not about making a minute-by-minute schedule.
Right.
It's more about just having a general roadmap
Right.
that can help you maximize your free time.
So when you go on vacation,
Exactly.
you don't just show up at the airport
Right.
and hope for the best.
Exactly. You need a plan.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the weekend.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we plan the weekend?
Well, so you don't need a fancy planner or anything like that.
Yeah.
You can just use a notepad or whiteboard or your phone's calendar.
Okay.
Even just a mental note.
Okay.
But the key is to actually set aside some time
All right.
each week
You do it.
to do it.
So 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Just to brainstorm and think about what you want to do.
Okay, so we've got our planning session.
Okay.
What are we thinking about?
Well, first things first.
Okay.
Remember those activities that bring you joy,
Uh-huh.
the things we talked about? Make sure those are front and center
Okay.
on your plan.
Okay, got it. Prioritize the fun stuff.
Exactly.
But what about all the other things?
Right.
Like chores and errands and all that.
Yeah.
How do we keep those from taking over?
That's where time boxing comes in.
Okay.
This is a super simple but effective strategy.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What is it?
So you basically decide ahead of time how much time
Sure.
you're willing to spend on those not so fun tasks.
Wow.
And then you stick to it.
Okay.
So instead of letting chores bleed into your whole Saturday,
Right.
you set some boundaries.
So it's like setting a timer
Exactly.
and saying, this is how long I have, and then I'm done.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, it creates a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And it keeps things from feeling so overwhelming.
Okay.
I actually use this strategy with my kids.
Really?
Yeah, instead of saying, go clean your room, which feels like an endless task to them,
Oh, yeah.
I'll be like, you have 30 minutes to tidy up,
Uh-huh.
and then we're going to the park.
Oh, that's good.
And it works wonders.
Yeah, I like that.
It teaches them time management.
And they're excited about it.
Exactly.
Okay, cool tip.
So speaking of chores, one of the articles we read had this cool idea about like
Okay.
reframing them.
What does that mean?
So basically it's about finding ways to make chores more enjoyable.
Okay.
So instead of dreading cleaning the bathroom,
Yeah.
you try to like find ways to make it more fun.
Okay, so how would you do that?
Well, you could put on some music
Yeah.
or listen to a podcast
Okay.
or turn decluttering into a game.
Oh.
You know, maybe you challenge yourself to get rid of a certain number of items,
Okay.
or you reward yourself with something you enjoy afterwards,
Okay.
like a coffee or a bath.
I like that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
All right, so we've got planning.
Uh-huh.
We've got time boxing.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, we have to talk about technology.
Oh boy. I know.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest obstacles to actually relaxing on the weekends.
Because we're so connected all the time.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get sucked in
Right?
and just waste so much time, but it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. And all that screen time can actually make you feel more drained.
Right.
And it can even mess with your sleep, which is super important for feeling good.
So are you saying like no phones allowed all weekend?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's more about finding a balance that works for you.
Okay.
So maybe you could designate certain times or places as screen-free zones,
Okay.
like no phones at the dinner table,
Right.
or no TV after 9 p.m.
I like that it's about being intentional.
It's exact.
Instead of just letting our devices control us,
Yeah,
we're making choices about
exactly.
how and when we use them.
Exactly. And you can even use technology to your advantage.
Really?
Yeah, there are all these apps out there that can help you manage your screen time
Oh, cool.
and stay focused.
Like what?
Well, one article talked about this app called Forest, where you plant a virtual tree and it grows as long as you stay off your phone.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's a fun way to gamify those healthy habits.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so we've got planning, we've got time boxing,
Yep.
we've got screen time management. What else can we do to like
Yeah.
really level up our weekends?
Well, this next tip is especially important for people with busy lives,
Okay.
and that is to embrace your current life stage.
Okay. Can you give me an example of what you mean?
Yeah, sure. So let's say you have young children. You know, you're probably not going to be having those lazy Sunday mornings with coffee in bed.
No, not happening.
Or like those spontaneous weekend getaways.
Right.
Those days are on hold.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't have an awesome weekend.
Okay.
It just means you have to adapt
Uh-huh.
and find ways to make it work within your current situation.
Okay.
So maybe instead of that fancy brunch,
Yeah.
you have a picnic in the park with your kids. Or instead of going to a crowded museum,
Uh-huh.
you explore a local playground.
Right.
You know, there are tons of ways to have fun
Yeah.
and create meaningful experiences
Right.
without, you know, breaking the bank or disrupting your routine.
I love that it's about finding those little pockets of joy
Exactly.
in everyday life.
Yeah.
And speaking of simple joys,
Yes.
one of the easiest ways to boost your weekend mood
Uh-huh.
is to get outside.
Absolutely.
I mean, fresh air,
Yes.
sunshine.
Picture.
It's like an instant reset button.
It really is.
It's so good for you.
And it doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Right.
It could just be a walk around your neighborhood
Yeah.
or a bike ride
Uh-huh.
or even just sitting on your porch
Okay.
and soaking up some vitamin D.
Yeah, we love family bike rides.
Oh, that's nice.
We pack a picnic
Yeah.
and find a new trail, and it's like an adventure.
That's awesome. And one of the best things about being outside
Yeah.
is that it's usually free
That's true.
or very low cost, which is great if you're on a budget.
Absolutely. Plus, there's something about being in nature
Uh-huh.
that helps me disconnect
Yes.
from like the stress of the week
Yeah.
and just be present,
Be present.
which is kind of the whole point of the weekend.
Exactly.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of being present,
Yes.
let's talk about how to end the weekend strong.
Okay.
Because I know for me,
Mm-hmm.
the Sunday scaries are real.
Oh, they are.
You know that feeling of dread?
Yes.
Like Sunday evening rolls around and you're just like, oh no.
Weekend's almost over.
Monday's coming
Yeah.
and it's the worst.
So one of the best ways to combat those Sunday scaries
Okay.
is to plan something you really enjoy for Sunday evening.
Okay.
Something to look forward to
Okay.
that'll help you relax.
So like what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, it could be anything that brings you joy and helps you de-stress.
Okay.
Maybe it's a cozy movie night with your family,
Okay.
or a long bath, or curling up with a good book.
Okay.
The key is to make it something you genuinely enjoy.
Okay.
And that helps you kind of ease into the week ahead.
So for me, it's Sunday dinner with the family.
Oh, nice.
We all sit down together. We have
Yep.
a nice meal
Uh-huh.
and we just connect.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. And it always ends the weekend on such a good note.
Yeah.
It's like we're talking about with planning a vacation. When you get back from a trip,
Yeah.
it's good to schedule some downtime.
Yes.
To unpack and unwind.
Exactly.
Before you jump back into reality.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about ending the weekend strong. But what about getting ready for the week ahead?
Yes. Sunday evening is a great time to get organized for the week.
Okay, so what kind of things should we be doing?
Well, meal prepping is a big one.
Oh, yeah. I love meal prepping.
It saves so much time.
It does.
And energy throughout the week.
Yeah.
And it helps you make healthier choices.
Yes, because you're not just grabbing whatever's easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other things you could do on Sunday evenings are,
Yeah.
reviewing your schedule for the week, laying out your clothes, packing your bag, or even just taking a few minutes to visualize a successful week.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's all about starting the week off on the right foot.
Exactly. And it goes back to that idea of, viewing the weekend as a time for rejuvenation.
Yes.
Not just like a time to catch up on chores.
Right. It's about taking care of yourself.
Exactly. The weekend is a time to nourish your mind, body, and soul.
I love that.
So that you can show up as your best self during the week.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We talked about defining our ideal weekend. We talked about identifying those pitfalls.
Yeah.
We talked about strategies like planning, time boxing, screen time management, embracing our current life stage, all that good stuff.
It's been a lot, but remember,
Yeah.
you don't have to do everything perfectly.
Right.
It's not about like turning your weekend into another to-do list.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works for you
Okay.
and making small changes
Yeah.
that will have a big impact on your well-being.
Totally. So pick one or two things that you like and try them out.
See how they make you feel.
Yeah.
And then you can gradually add more strategies as you go.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach
Exactly.
to the perfect weekend.
Everyone's different.
Right. What works for one person
Right.
might not work for another.
Yeah, it's all about finding your own rhythm.
Yeah.
And creating a weekend routine that really works for you.
I love that. So we're giving our listeners permission
Exactly.
to design their own perfect weekends.
Yes, no guilt, no pressure.
Just joy and rejuvenation.
Exactly. Weekends are a gift.
Yeah.
A time to celebrate life, connect with loved ones, and do things that you love.
Well said, Sarah. This has been so insightful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to create weekends that feel like a true escape from the everyday grind.
Remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So make the most of your weekends.
Yes. And before we sign off, I want to leave you with a little food for thought.
Okay.
When was the last time you had a truly soulful, unrushed meal?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know, one where you savored every bite,
Yeah.
appreciated the company around you,
Yeah.
and just were fully present in the moment.
That's beautiful.
Think about that this weekend.
Yes?
Okay.
Okay.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye. So we've talked about planning, time boxing chores, screen time, and embracing your life stage. But there's one more thing we really need to talk about.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Getting outside.
Oh, yeah.
I knew this was coming.
I know, but it's so important.
It is fresh air, sunshine, nature.
Like an instant reset
It really is.
for your mind and body.
For real. And you don't even have to do anything fancy.
Right.
Just get outside.
Just get out there.
Yeah.
It could be a walk around the block,
Yeah.
you know, a bike ride with your family, or just sitting on your porch for a few minutes,
Yeah.
soaking up the sun.
We are big fans of family bike rides.
Oh, that's nice.
We like pack a picnic
Yeah.
and find a new trail to explore.
I love that.
It's like a little adventure.
It is an adventure.
Yeah.
And one of the best things about spending time outdoors is it's often free
That's true.
or really cheap.
Especially important these days.
Yeah. Good for the budget.
Yeah. And, I think it's also good for your mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when I'm out in nature, I feel so much more relaxed
Yeah.
and present.
Yeah.
Like all the stress from the week just melts away. Yes. And that's the whole point of the weekend, right?
Totally, to recharge
Yeah.
and come back feeling refreshed.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of great ways to make our weekends awesome.
We have.
But let's be real. Sunday night rolls around,
Oh, yeah.
and the Sunday scaries, they can hit hard.
They can.
You know that feeling of dread?
Yes.
Like the weekend's almost over and Monday's looming.
I know.
It's the worst.
So one of the best ways to deal with those Sunday scaries is to plan something fun for Sunday evening.
Okay, so like a buffer.
Exactly. A buffer between the weekend.
We all gather around the table, share a meal, and just connect.
That sounds lovely.
It's a great way to end the weekend.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself permission to ease back into the week.
Totally, instead of just crashing into Monday morning.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's funny because it reminds me of something I read about taking a vacation.
Oh, yeah.
You know how when you get back from a trip,
Uh-huh.
it's good to give yourself some time to unpack and unwind.
Yes.
Before you jump back into your routine.
Exactly.
It's the same idea.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about ending the weekend on a high note.
Yep.
But what about preparing for the week ahead?
Yeah, so Sunday evening is also a good time
Okay.
to get organized for the week.
Okay. What kind of things are we talking about here?
Well, one of the most helpful things you can do is meal prep.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of meal prepping.
It saves you so much time and energy.
It does, and it helps me eat healthier.
Exactly, because you're not just grabbing whatever's quick and easy when you're hungry.
So true. Okay, what else can we do to get ready for the week?
Well, you could review your schedule, lay out your clothes, pack your bag,
Okay.
or even just take a few minutes to visualize a successful week.
I like that.
Yeah, just setting those intentions.
Intentions for the week ahead.
Okay, and this all goes back to that idea of viewing the weekend as a time for rejuvenation.
Exactly.
Not just catching up on chores.
Right, the weekend is a time to nourish yourself.
Yes.
So that you can be your best self during the week.
Okay, so we talked about how to end the weekend strong and how to prep for the week ahead.
It's all about setting yourself up for success.
Right. And it goes back to that idea of viewing the weekend as a time for rejuvenation.
Not just a time to catch up on everything you didn't get done during the week.
Exactly. So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From defining our ideal weekend.
Yeah.
To identifying those pitfalls. To implementing all sorts of strategies.
Like planning and time boxing. Yeah. Screen time management, embracing our life stage.
All that good stuff.
It's been a lot, but remember.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all at once.
Right.
Just pick one or two things that resonate with you.
Yeah.
And start there.
See how they make you feel.
Experiment and find what works for you.
Exactly. Because there's no one-size-fits-all approach to the perfect weekend.
Right. What works for me might not work for you.
Everyone's different.
And that's okay.
It's about finding your own rhythm.
Yeah.
And creating a weekend routine that truly nourishes you.
So we're giving our listeners permission.
Yes.
To design their own perfect weekend.
No guilt, no pressure.
Just pure joy and rejuvenation.
Exactly. Weekends are a gift.
Yeah.
A time to celebrate life, connect with loved ones, and pursue those things that light you up.
Well said, Sarah. This has been such an insightful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to create weekends that feel like a true escape.
An escape from the everyday grind.
Remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
So get out there and make the most of your precious time off.
Absolutely. And before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
When was the last time you had a truly soulful, unrushed meal?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know, one where you could really savor every bite. Appreciate the company around you.
Yeah.
And just be fully present in the moment.
That's beautiful.
Make time for that this weekend.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.